So these are called CARs. What does CARs stand for?
Controlled articular rotations.
Okay, that's why we call it CARs. You'll forget. So I do too. So first thing we're gonna do is we're going to do chin to chest, so mouth closed, chin to chest, good. Then he's going to rotate his head, just pick a side, and then he's gonna allow it to fall back. You're going end range, so as far as you can go. You're taking about 7 seconds to do a circle. He gets back to the starting point. Guess what? He's gonna go the other direction. Take your time and go slow. Now there's certain times when you're doing this, you might feel, ooh, man, that's nice and smooth. And then you'll hit a spot where it's like, ugh. That's okay. Slowly go through that. And honestly, the more you do it, the smoother it becomes, that transition from one movement, flexion, rotation, extension, back over here, okay? How many times you do this? 10 times. This is micro break number, micro break number 2. So this is not all done at the same time. You get back to work after you've done the neck and start drinking more water. And every time you gotta pee, here's your cue, number 2. Not number 2. So what Doc did here is he grabbed a yoga block. He's just having something where he can compress. You don't necessarily have to have this if you're at work, but it does help. So what we're doing is we're focusing on the shoulder girdle second. So what he's gonna do first is he's gonna elevate to his ears, push, so protract, protract, then depress, and then retract. So he's pretty much doing a circle this way. Then whenever he gets there, he's kind of doing it twice because I kind of threw him off. But then he's just going to do the opposite every time. Okay, so this is just trying to get his shoulder girdle to move before we continue on with other stretches. Scapular motion is super important. And the thing is, if you're sitting there at that computer, it's gonna be rolled forward, pecs are gonna get tight, it's gonna compress everything in here, mess with your breathing, put tension on the neck. So this one is super important. Try it, remember, 7 seconds with the rotation, 10 times or 10 circles. Break number 3, all you need is a door frame, okay? All you're gonna do is, I like to personally just kind of start up nice and tall, okay? What he's gonna do is we're gonna try to hit different angles of the pec. So he's going to put one leg forward just so you're not having too much stretch on that front shoulder. And all he's trying to do is allow that thoracic spine to go forward, and you will feel the major stretch here on the front. You can hold that for about 10, 15 seconds, relax, and he's moving to a different angle. He's coming down. Remember how we always like to do a little bit of pails and rails to it too? He can push his arms into the door for a few seconds and then relax. See if you can get deeper into that movement. Take a nice deep breath, push in there again, relax, good, deeper into that movement. So this is you'll feel a major stretch in that pec. So there again, sitting at the computer, pec gets super stiff and tight. If he wants, he can even go down a little bit further, and it's hitting different angles of that pec. So 3 different angles, high, medium, a little bit lower, but if it does hurt, breathe through it, back off of it a little bit, maybe do the pills and rails part. So this one is micro break number 3. Micro break number 4. So we did the neck, we did the shoulder, we did the pecs. Now it's time to hit the thoracic spine. So what we're doing here, you don't even have to get up from your chair. Doc's still sitting down. Just like we did in the neck, where we tucked the chin and kind of rotated the head, he's gonna do the same thing. He's going to round the back. Good, once he's at in range, then now he's gonna pick a side, and he's just going to rotate all the way around. Keep going, nice and slow, 7 seconds. Once he gets back to the starting position, he's gonna, guess what? Go the other direction. So he is just thinking one vertebrae at a time, rotating here in the thoracic spine, the mid-back. So the concept is the same. We're doing the same type movement in the neck, same type movement in the shoulder. Thoracic spine is no different. Okay, micro break number 5. So start at the top, worked our way down. We're working on a pigeon stretch, glute stretch type position. So he's gonna cross the leg. The only caveat for this one, if this does hurt the knee because your hips are so stiff and your knee's sticking up like this, I want you to actively bring this foot up because it helps stabilize the knee a little bit more. But most people just sit over there and kind of like bend over and kind of like get a lot of thoracic spine, and sometimes they don't really feel it where we want it to be. It should feel it right there. He's gonna be nice and tall. His belly button is going to try to go to that shin bone. And a lot of times it doesn't take very much. So this is step 1. If you're pretty new to this, that's all you really need to do. If you want to get a little bit better, he can do like the P&F type stuff, like pails and rails type things, where he can either put his hand here, he can push up into it, hold it for about 5-7 seconds, then see if you can go a little bit further down. Just sit there and work that external rotation at this hip, okay? And if he's here, then he can kind of move his thoracic spine around if he wants to get a little bit of extra stretch. But the main goal is to try to get external rotation at this hip, because you're sitting all day and that muscle will get super stiff, cause some of that pain down the leg, piriformis syndrome, sciatic issues. This is a good, easy thing to do every day. Micro break number 6. So, just like I said before, you're not doing all these stretches all at one time. You're sitting there breaking it up systematically throughout the day, minute or two every 2 or 3 hours, okay? Now, we actually want you to stand every now and then. So this one, the other ones we did with you sitting, Doc's gonna stand now. We're focusing on another ball and socket joint, the hip. So the first thing he's gonna do, grip that ground with the foot so he doesn't fall down, and then he's going to elevate his hip. Good, hip flexion. Then he's going to do internal rotation. Then he's gonna kick that leg back as far as he can, then bring it back down to knee, and then come to the kind of neutral position. He's gonna extend the hip, external rotation, bring the leg in, good. So he's working flexion, extension, internal rotation, and external rotation. This is a fantastic one for this hip right here. So remember, take your time, 7 seconds, then I want you to do it 10 times circle-wise, okay? This one is a fantastic one. You might have to watch this one and kind of play along with us, monkey see, monkey do, because it's kind of weird. You might seem like you're dancing or something like that. I always think I'm hurdling. That's what I kind of think of. Have fun with this one. Micro break number 7. Last one, I promise. This should be at the end of the day. Man, you should be like ready to go. You're like heck, getting out the door. So what are we doing? Toe touch, hamstrings. What he's gonna do is he's just gonna lock the knees out for right now. Can he bend over and touch his toes? Now, Doc's got this. This is a piece of cake for him. Now say he's not. Say if he's like here and you're just super stiff. Little trick that you can do is, if you can't keep the knees locked, squeeze your glutes as hard as you can. Tight, 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 and then relax, breathe out. You should be able to go a little bit further. Squeeze, 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 relax. You should be able to go a little bit further. I typically do this about 3 to 5 times, depends on how tight I'm in. Always remember to take a nice deep breath. When you're done, the breathing is your reset button. Come on back up. Good. Now that should hopefully lengthen your posterior chain. We want to kind of accentuate that a little bit more at the bottom part. So then you're just going to pick a wall, pick something that ain't going to move, and we're going to go ahead and do the calf part of it. He's going to put his toes up on the wall, and now he's just going to try to lock out his knee. He's going to try to bring his hip to the wall. You should feel this if you have plantar fascial issues or big toe problems. This is stretching that big toe, plantar fascia, Achilles, and calf. So this one is like one of those shotgun type moves of stretching, because it just gets all the foot, okay? And then you can take that leg back and then kind of, or you can do the other leg if you want. There you go, straighten this leg out. And then you can also get the traditional calf stretch like we normally know how to do, okay? So these are the 7 micro breaks that we would like you to do throughout the day. Remember, consistency is key. So I know a lot of you times like, oh, I don't have, 30 minutes to do all these stretches. We just did like 15 minutes of stretches, but broke it up into a minute or 2 spaced out through the day. So you're supposed to be drinking your water. You're supposed to get up and take your breaks. You're supposed to do your stretches. We're trying to make this easy for you so you can be successful and hold your adjustments and get better health. So it's time to own it. Is that right, Doc?
Yeah.